chapter number 8. Okay, so if you're right there, man, get ready. Okay, get adjusted, get comfortable, and open up your mind and your heart so we can start with our lecture. Can start with our reading, and I'm just getting connected with all my different social media so we can touch, move, and inspire more people. Thank you, Stephen Shipman, for this guide for this book. You know, people with a lot of experiences giving up their knowledges for pennies and for free. Okay, and people like us just willing to share the information in order for you to get succeed. Okay, so let's go. The 25 sales habits of highly successful salespeople. Habit number 7. Find key requirements. Should you set your goal as of finding customers who need the product all the time? The answer is more complicated than you may think. Newsflash, the economy has changed and you should too if you want to succeed. Most of us are selling today are not creating a new market. That is to say, we're not following the time-honored advice to find a need and fill it, because on the whole, we can't. Our economy has been eradicating basic needs of an historically unprecedented scale of almost a half a century now. And now it's done a pretty darn good job. Not a perfect job, of course, but a good enough job to change the way most salespeople must operate. What today's salespeople must do to succeed is to find requirements they can fill among those sought after qualified buyers who know full well that the choice is there when it comes to choosing the new widget service. We have a lot of automobiles in this country. We have a lot of copiers, and we have a whole bunch of healthcare plans available too. If your job is to sell an automobile, a copier, or a healthcare plan, you will have to come up with something new and exciting about a particular offer you giving buyer who these days can be counting on more and more to have some experience with your product or your service category. You will have to tailor your approach to the requirements you are identified with the prospect groups. Otherwise, you have some problems. Find the prospect to fit your profile or a happy customer and work from there. This is not to say that there is not much thing as a first-time car buyer or a company that is shopping around for first-time health plan. Obviously, the patterns of new buyers will vary from region to region and from industry to industry. My point is, most of salespeople I met do not make virgin prospects their core concern. Their objective typically is not to identify the need for the widget, but to get a lead on the type of widget buyer user whose requirements they can satisfy better than anyone else. Then make some striking comparison to that person. Find your segment, your area, your expertise, your niche. Learn to classify common concerns and problem shares by the types of educated customers you know you have been able to satisfy. Then the prospect for the person. Of course, you aren't going to turn anyone down, but who doesn't fit the profile, but still wants to buy from you. But most successful people I know develop a sense of likely customers and is and then put themselves as the front of many those types of people possible. With someone who's buying using brand X widgets for 20 years, your goal isn't to identify the need, but is to unearth the requirements that get your prospect to consider changing your brand's Y widgets. Does he require a better service plans, more flexibility with payments, a better price, frequent contact with your salesperson? There are a million variables. Often the requirements will be difficult to gauge. Perhaps the prospect himself has not fully identified himself. That's where you come in. The salesperson as factual educator and facilitator, not a steamroller. Of course, there are some fields of sales in which the primary focus may well be on first-time buyers. Insurance come to mind. Here too, however, it is little simplicity to look at the process as simple, finding a need. Any good insurance agent can tell you the major part of this job: education, filling in the knowledge gaps first-time buyers brings to the table, and then providing the information necessary for that person to make the right choice. This requires to no small degree or of tact, patience, and persistence of all considerable period of time after need is found. Think about it. You are the person who needs life insurance and who doesn't require any assistance on new information to get to that point. What are you going to do? Call the life insurance company. Remember, when dealing with a customer who already uses completing product or service, as we so often must, we have to remember that we need it itself has already been established. It has been so firmly established that the person has opted to take time out on very busy schedule to meet you and discuss it. More sales than you may imagine have been lost because of salespeople inability to grasp that the focus with the educated customer must be how to identify and meet requirements that the current product or service is not meeting. The importance of the perspective and patience in dealing with your prospects. Keeping this thinking in perspective here, no one is suggesting you should not talk up your products ambiguously. It's all the questions of how. Prating about how wonderful brand wide widgets are when compared to no widgets, it's suicidal. Discussing specific ways brand wide widgets will deliver more, perform better, or make for a more attractive budget and then brand X is your way that you will make the sale. Look at each lead as a sales relationship and remember that relationships takes time to develop. Habit number 8, know the sales timetable. Knowing, understanding, and using timetable is one of the most important elements of the sales process. Yet, ironically, it is often overlooked and almost invariably left out of sales training. It is ignored with equal vigor by salespeople and sales managers alike. I think that true because this process seems more difficult to explain and understand than it really is. So let's start about with a real world example. You have an appointment tomorrow at 9 a.m. with an important prospect 7 miles away. It's a straight highway run that normally takes 90 minutes. But because you'll be traveling during rush hour, you allow an extra 30 minutes for the trip. So you want to leave the house at 7 a.m. And to do that, you will set your alarm at 6. In a nutshell, that simple example also illustrates some sales timetable. Basically, you plan your sales efforts working backwards from the customer needs. Here is an example. Captain Andy, a major American cereal manufacturer, just made up its planning a brand extension. The company's marketing and research staff has concluded that a new variety of breakfast food will capture an important 3-year-old demographics. So in a year time, supermarkets around the country will be flooded with Captain Andy cereals, choice nuggets of chocolate, fresh fruits, and sugar. That 12 months off, but if you are in the packaging business and you want to sell the company boxes for the new products, obviously you can wait until the product is about to hit shelves before you go and make the pitch for your boxes. You should be calling your prospect now, before any firm packaging decision has been made. If you wait 6 months or even a little 3 months, you just be wasting your time. If you miss the critical cycle, you will be locked out on 2 levels: developing and delivering the initial packagings for the product's release, and continually delivering and presumable successful products capture market share. This is true for many, if not most, commercial products. If you sell copiers, you have to be aware when the prospect currently leases are up. If it's insurance, you have to know when the company policies come from renewal. But if it's critical, you not only have to know your customer's buying cycle, you have to know your sales cycle as well. Let's use a first example, your design, create, and manufacture packaging for a variety of industries. You heard that Captain Andy is looking to develop a new cereal and it wants to market in 12 months. Typically, your own sales cycle is 6 weeks. That is an average. It takes a month and a half from the time you first contact the company until you get signed the contract. Then it's usually take 3 to 4 weeks before we design teams comes and with a package of customers approved. And then it can take another 3 weeks to buy cardboard, the ink, find time on your press, and get those boxes shipped to the cereal manufacturer plants. These are made up numbers, of course, but if you, as you can see, it takes at least about 3 months from the first contact to product delivery. So if you have to work backwards from the company cycle to sell your cycle and decide when to start a significant push, or well, it's too late. In the case of Capital Andy, you would have to be in selling at least 3 months before the company expects to start cereal lines moving in its plants. Knowing your timetable is important, and a couple of other key areas as well. For one thing, the timetable is a way to gauge how well you're doing. Let's say you work in an industry where your sales cycle is 6 months. Then it takes another 6 weeks for bills to be paid and another 6 weeks for your collect your commission check. That means by March, you should know how you've done for the year. Also, the cycle is at least can serve as an incentive. If you understand the timetable, you recognize the importance of prospecting every day. If you don't prospect today, there's no commission check 9 months down the road. And if that doesn't get to your phone, nothing will. Okay, guys, thank you for listening to this chapter number 7 and chapter number 8 of this incredible book called The 20 Sales Habit of Highly Successful Salespeople. And I keep doing my invitation for all of you guys that are there, that are willing to become an entrepreneur, that are willing to learn more about business, and you're able and you're willing to move forward and create an extra income for your family, and your loved ones. So if you want to be part of our business, do not hesitate just to contact us, send us a message, and feel free to ask any questions. We're here to support you guys. Have a great day. See you in the next one. Bye.